Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimat, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimat, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Nitai Gaura Premanand. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Shigoranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, entitled Liberation, Chapter 5, entitled Durvasa Muni's Life Spare, text number 27. I will read also number 28, and I will finish this chapter. Ityetat punyan akyanam ambarishasya bhupate Sankirtayan anudhyayam bhakto bhagavato bhavet ityetat punyanakyanam ambarishasya bhupate Sankirtayan anudhyayam bhakto bhagavato bhavet ityetat punyanakyanam ambarisasya bhupate Sankirtayan anudhyayam bhakto bhagavato bhavet. Please chant. iti, thus, etat, this, punyan akyanam, most pious activity in history, Ambarishasya, of Maharaj Ambarisha, Bhupate, O King, Maharaj Parikshit, Sankirtayam, by chanting, repeating, Anudhyayam, or by meditating upon, Bhaktaha, a devotee, Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhavet, one can become. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Anyone who chants these narrations or even thinks of these narrations about the activities of Maharaj Ambarisha certainly becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur herein gives a very good example. When one is very eager for more and more money, he is not satisfied even when he is a millionaire or a multimillionaire, but wants to earn more and more money by any means. The same mentality is present in a devotee. The devotee is never satisfied thinking, quote, "This is the limit of my devotional service," end of quote. The more he engages in service of the Lord, the more service he wants to give. This is the position of a devotee. Maharaj Ambarisha, in his family life, was certainly a pure devotee, complete in every respect, because his mind and all his senses were engaged in devotional service. Sabai mana Krishna paradavindayor bachansi vaikunta gunar nuvarnane. Maharaj Ambarisha was self-satisfied because all of his senses were engaged in devotional service. Sarvupadi vinimurtam tatparattvena nirmalam Hrishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. Nonetheless, although Maharaj Ambarisha has engaged all of his senses in devotional service, he left home and went to the forest to concentrate his mind fully at the lotus feet of Lord of Krishna. Exactly as a mercantile man, even though complete in wealth, tries to earn more and more. This mentality of getting more and more engaged in devotional service puts one in the most exalted position. Whereas on the karma platform, the mercantile man who wants more and more money becomes increasingly bound and entangled. The devotee becomes increasingly liberated. Text number 28. Ambarisha shicharitam jesimbanti mahatmanaha muktim prajanti te sarve bhaktya vishnu prasadataha. Translation. By the grace of the Lord, those who hear about the activities of Maharaj Ambarisha, the great devotee certainly becomes liberated or becomes devotees without delay. Purport. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 9th canto, 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Durvasa Muni's Life Spare. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurube Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashaya Bhutale Srimate Romapaswami Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Shatarine. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. So, the example given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti in his explanation of this verse, in his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam, is very graphic and very important too, because it highlights possibly the most important principle that is required for life in Krishna consciousness, for a progressive life in Krishna consciousness. The example that he gives is that although Maharaj Ambarish was a perfect, pure devotee, in fact, I think in the translation of the verse, you notice that he is Punyan Akyanam. He is described as the most pious activities in history. Most pious activities in history is sort of to engage in remembering and meditating in the activities of Maharaj Ambarish. So that's quite a statement. And this is a Srimad Bhagavatam saying that. So Maharaj Ambarish is such a wonderful example of a pure devotee. So perfect devotee as a king. The description that he was able to engage fully in the service of Krishna, his mind, his activities, all of his senses, himself, it was so powerful that Krishna himself, Lord Vishnu, felt quite obliged to Maharaj Ambarish and basically ordered the Sudarshan Chakra to be by him, to protect him in all circumstances. So perfect devotee. However, so all devotees in the universe, in the creation, is encouraged to remember or meditate or narrate the activities of Maharaj Ambarish as a king. Maharaj Ambarish was not thinking like that. He was not thinking, I'm in this most auspicious, perfect position. I've reached, the zenith of the ultimate position by being fully connected at the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. He doesn't think like that. He's thinking that it's not enough, I want more. So, therefore, even though in that position, he renounced all that and went to the forest to actually enter into a much more intense meditation and connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur highlights this principle, and he compares it that this same principle, when it's applied not for the purpose of achieving Krishna, is the same principle. Let me rephrase again. This same principle can be applied either for transcendental growth or transcendental, how to say it? Let me see. Okay. The same principle is used for elevation, or the same principle can be used for degradation. And then we see the way Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur puts it. So, how do you explain? Sometimes, you question yourself. These multi-billionaire people who have so much money, and they work so hard, they continuously scheming to actually make more money. And imagine, what would you do with $100 million? Wouldn't be that enough for living your life, like peacefully and happily, and with all that, well, even with, few $1 million. Even you ask a devotee, any devotee, it will be fine with, I don't know, what? A few hundred, whatever, I mean, a devotee will be all right. You can live very comfortably. Even you don't have to work anymore if you have, certain amount of money. Now, these people have, and they have, and they have, and they don't stop. They have to make more. They have to make more. They have to make more. And it doesn't stop. They have to make more. So when you hear people, that have billions of dollars and they're still working very hard, and you say, what do you do with that much money? What do they do? But they still want more. They still want more. And that principle, Srila Rupa Goswami describes as lolium. In the six principles that destroys devotion or destroys your endeavor for devotional service, the last one is lolium, which means greediness for material acquisitions. It's greediness. This lolium means greediness. So this greediness is a principle that is, when it's used for the purpose of sense gratification, of the purpose of, what is it that Krishna says? Bhoga and Aishwarya. Bhoga Aishwarya. For the principle of sense gratification and for the principle of controlling material nature, for the purpose of your personal sense gratification, your personal aggrandizement. That principle basically destroys any capacity of devotional service, and that principle is the one that basically takes you down into the lower regions of ignorance, as per the Sri Ishupanishad, mantra 9, that one gets cast into the lower regions of ignorance. So, lolium, this greediness does that when it's not applied. But this same principle, lolium, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes this famous the famous conversation of Srila Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya asked Srila Ramananda Roy to describe what is the goal of life, what is the purpose of life. And then Srila Ramananda Roy describes so many different answers that were, presented in the Shastras. And then Lord Chaitanya saying, no, keep going, this is not enough, this is external, this is external, this is external. When when Ramananda Roy came to say that the practice of pure devotional service, when one is situated in that practice of devotional service, guided by pure devotees, and when one is able to give up mental speculation and sense gratification, the pursuance for karma and jnana, and one is become situated in devotional service, then Lord Chaitanya say, yes, tell me more. And then Srila Ramananda Roy says this famous verse that, well, he said this too. The first one was in regard of, let's see here, I actually read it for you. It's better than use my memory. Ramananda say, the first one which refers to devotional service or pure devotional service when it's done in the beginning stages with the rules and regulations, with like sadhana bhakti. But when it's fully guided by a pure devotee, and when it's devoid of all this mental speculation and sense gratification. So Ramananda Roy explains, as long as there is hunger and thirst within the stomach, varieties of food and drink makes one feel very happy. Similarly, when the Lord is worshipped with pure love, the various activities performed in the course of that worship awaken transcendental bliss in the heart of the devotee. So it's when one is moving towards experiencing devotional service to the Lord. And naturally, that makes the devotee very happy. Now, this is the verse, Prabhupada quotes this verse a lot, is famous, and it highlights a principle that is possibly this most important principle to have this advancement in Krishna consciousness. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Babitha Matihi Kriyatam Yadikuto Pilabhyate. And then this is a phrase that Prabhupada constantly uses. It's very powerful. Tatra Laulyan Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukritayar Nalabhyate. Translation. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activities in hundreds and thousands of lives. That's Janma Koti Sukritayar Nalabhyate. It cannot be obtained by performing pious activities for thousands of lives. Pure devotional service, that's not what gives you pure devotional service. And then he says this, Tatra Lolyan Api Mulyam Ekalam. It can be obtained only by paying one price. That is, intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase without delay. So, there is only one price. Ekka. Mulyam Ekkalam. Mulyam Ekkalam. The only price to obtain pure devotional service is this lolium. The same principle, lolium, greediness. So, sometimes, we may think, if we think about, when we think about this most important principle to have, and in times, without having this discussion, if we presented with this question, we can think of association of devotees, chanting of the holy name, taking prasadam, things like that. We can say so many questions. Someone may ask you, what is the most important principle in your life in Krishna consciousness? that makes your life in Krishna consciousness progressive. And then we see that, that those who really, really progress in Krishna consciousness, and then those who sometimes becomes stagnant, and those whose Krishna consciousness, sometimes becomes start to diminish for whatever circumstance, all of those devotees have the association of the holy name, the association with devotees, everything there. So what is that makes the difference, that one progresses and one doesn't progress, one becomes stagnant? And that principle is lowlium, the desire, the intense desire to actually become Krishna consciousness. So one have to have that, one have to cultivate that type of greediness, of intense desire. And we can see sometimes when, if we observe, I'm sure that most of us have experienced time in which you feel your Krishna consciousness is, you don't feel the same type of enthusiasm that one has at certain certain points, we go like on that roller coaster, of how we feel our Krishna consciousness. So, what is that affects, that enthusiasm? Is something that we have to review and being introspective about it. In one sense, how eager we are, how much, when say, for example, you take one of those, Prabhupada say, this mercantile man, or these business people, that in despite of having something, a situation that is quite comfortable, they still endeavor very hard to make more money. What is that doesn't allow them to be satisfied with what they have? It's just this desire, this almost like this fire that you have to have more. You have to go for more. So how is that desire that we have, although we receive this most wonderful thing, and then when we receive it, the first thing that makes us very enthusiastic. In the beginning of mostly, most of us have that experience in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness. When we receive Krishna consciousness, we're very eager to get to know more. We want to understand. We want to learn this. We want to, there's that enthusiasm, and there's a certain happiness that comes with that experience. And then happens that when things start to settle, then we start to don't feel so well about it, or start to feel we don't have the same feeling. And remember listening to the class recently given by His Holiness Prabhupada Swami, explaining that the reason is that we start to become, commit offenses. Commit offenses to devotees, or commit offenses to the holy name, commit offenses to the deities. So these things, start to hamper that type of experience. So, so at that moment, then what do? We can either sort of, give in or try to maintain some sort of a situation, but is the taste. How long can you go if you don't try to, with great intensity, desire, to actually overcome and, and actually become Krishna conscious? how long can we go just, maintaining this status quo? We can make so many, we can make a whole list of excuses. I mean, thinking, well, my health is not so good, I'm getting old, or I don't, I have this circumstance or that circumstance or these things. We try to rationalize why we can not, actually have that intensity, that, that thing that, whatever it takes to actually have it, that greediness, for it, that lolium, that intense desire to have it. Well, we can make all these different excuses, Right now, I need to do this, and then after, I'll be able to. So, when you make a difference of those who actually achieve certain height in the whatever endeavor they want, is that they, have that intensity about it. Either in the sports or in finances, in any type, similarly in our Krishna consciousness, we have to get this lolium, this intense desire. And in fact, it is explained that is the only price, that's the only price to be able to obtain it, to obtain pure devotional service. Devotional service we can obtain, but pure devotional service is very rare. And to obtain it, we have to have that intense eagerness. I think I'm going to stop here. I didn't prepare very much. I was not supposed to give the class today. So I just did a quick thing. But yes, we discussed. Giridhari, under that there's a microphone, yeah. That little switch on the side.
Thanks. Thank you, bro, for the class. I would like to share 2 points I was thinking while you were giving the class. The first point is about the principle in the Sri Upanishad that each of us have an assigned quota. We may think that someone who is earning or making a lot of money is greedy or is having this trouble of accumulating more than the necessary. But I'm thinking, well, I know people, like close people, that they don't have to do any effort to make money. They are condemned to be successful at some point. So, what is the place that these people will have in the movement if they are just condemned? They cannot, could be money. Some people are successful with, friends and social life. Some people are successful with gaining a lot of knowledge. So I'm saying, okay, it seems like the assigned quota here is like, it's not a problem to have too much or to have too little, but just to see what is the assigned quota that we have. If we have to work hard to get some things, well, that could be possibly the principle of, accumulating more than necessary. But I'm thinking, what will be the place that that type of person will have in the movement if they just can't avoid to have a lot of things, Right. Well, that's most of the things that I try to. I wanted to share, and I cannot remember the other point. But well, that was the point. Yeah. No, and the other point is that you mentioned that lolium. It could work either way. Like for someone who is going through the path of elevation, or the other one is the degradation. And I'm saying, okay, there is another principle in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever advancement you have, that whatever progress you have in Krishna consciousness or in spiritual life, that progress, you will never lose that.
Right.
So I'm thinking, all right, so what about degradation? How that works? Because everything I did so far, I will, conserve that. I will not lose it. So how can I be degraded by some sort of, principle?
Okay. I take the two. The first one, yes. I think the Sri Upanishad itself just give us the answer for that. Sri Upanishad, I think, is one of the most relevant, at least in my experience, books that we can study very, very carefully, because it gives us very, very nice clues of, if we are trying to apply when we're conditioned with desires and with material desires, with material condition, and we're trying to be a devotee, how we can elevate ourselves to Krishna consciousness, even with that type of condition, when we have attachments. So the principle of the Sri Upanishad is the Ishavasya Sarvamidam, the Ishavasya principle. Krishna, and it is explained, that is Vidya, that is knowledge. Prabhupada explains throughout, the Sri Upanishad, that the principle of knowledge is understanding that Krishna is the owner of everything. Everything belongs to him. And then the introduction verse of the Sri Upanishad is, he is complete and everything he does is perfect and complete. So the whole system that he's created for us in this material manifestation, in this, cosmic manifestation, is perfect, is complete. So, and for each one of us, there's a complete arrangement that is perfect. So that is, that we have a quota, and that is perfect for each one of us. It's individual, and it's perfect. And then, so as you say, yes, some people have that particular quota. Some people can be Maharaj Ambarish, who was, his wealth was glorified as even much greater than any heavenly kingdom, and the opulence that he has. Or you can be someone like Sudama Brahmana, who basically have nothing. And so a particular quota for each one of us, and the principle that Upanishad gives is that you have to be satisfied. You should be satisfied with your quota. And don't sort of try to envy or compare, what about the quota of this guy here, like that type of thing. So what is that allows ones to function within that principle of knowledge, that Vidya, is mantra 11, that you have to have these two cultivations, Vidya and Avidya, which is Vidya, this knowledge that Krishna is a supreme controller, he is the proprietor of everything, and I have a quota that he has given me. And then, so that is Vidya. And Avidya is just knowledge about material things. Your propensity, knowledge, how according to your nature, you have a particular guna, you have a particular karma. So, your work in the material world, according to your qualities. So you have knowledge about that. And the principle is that your material knowledge is being guided by transcendental knowledge. So then your material knowledge becomes simply an asset to the spiritual goals that you have. So in the principle of Vidya, or in the platform of Vidya, the goal of life is self-realization. So everything that you do is meant for self-realization, for elevating yourself in Krishna consciousness. The contrary is when there is no vidya, when there is no acceptance of Krishna's position, then that is avidya. And mantra 8, I think 9 and 10, 8, 9 and 10, 9 and 10 tells you that what is the destination of someone who is in avidya. And the principle of avidya is that you do everything for sense gratification. So it's self-centered, and then it casts you in the lowest regions of ignorance. So, the position of someone whose quota is, a lot of material wealth, when he's guided by transcendental knowledge, then it's perfect. It's just like Maharaj Ambarish, And so it's very properly situated. And so regardless if it's Maharaj Ambarish or it's Sudama Brahmana or it's any position that is there in this whole spectrum of quotas that we receive, we still have to possess that lowlian, that eagerness. Because the difference is, as you said, devotional service, any effort that we made in devotional service is going to save us from the greatest danger. And it is eternal. Any achievement, anything that we do in the path of devotional service is an eternal asset. It doesn't go away, and we continue in your next life, like that, in our next life. However, what we're talking here is not just devotional service, it's pure devotional service, Suddha Bhakti. To obtain Suddha Bhakti, to obtain pure devotional service, there's one price. And there's this intense desire to have it. If we don't have that intense desire, then, at one point we hit a plateau. And then when you hit a plateau, you start to go down. There's no such a thing, it's like if you're going up, you have to continue going up. You have to have your rockets, really going. If the rockets stop, if the thing stops, you go along, and at one point when you hit that point that stops, then naturally you start to diminish, But nevertheless, up to that point, that's eternal. If you start to fall down again, then in your next life, very soon, you go back to that position and you continue. But to obtain pure devotional service, lowliam. We have to have that. That's the explanation. Any other comment or questions? Yes, Jai Baladev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your class. You were mentioning, it's just appreciation. Your comment reminded me of something, our intense desire. We can't make any progress without intense desire, lowliam. It just reminds me of a quote that says, life is like a trumpet. If you don't put anything into it, then you won't get anything out of it. So, but my comment and question is related to a similar pastime of Ambarish. It's my favorite pastime where Bhrigu Muni kicks Lord Vishnu. He ignores Brahma and insults Shiva. And he wanted to test who can maintain their integrity in all circumstances. So one observation I just made is that Vishnu is, of course, the maintainer, Shiva's the destroyer, and Brahma's the creator. And so I've noticed that in every situation that, for example, creating a building is easy, destroying a building even easier. Now Ashtandhya, maintaining the building, that's the hard part. Or you could apply this to relationships, creating any relationship easy, destroying a relationship even easier, and maintaining any relationship. And we could see in this pastime of the Lord Vishnu, when Bhrigu Muni kicked him, he started complimenting Bhrigu Muni, who does that. He wanted to maintain his relationship. So my question is related to that point is that it seems like maintaining a relationship is a two-sided thing. Just like Haridas Thakur, the prostitute wanted to drag him down, seduce him, and make him fall. So naturally, in most of our circumstances, we would start insulting the prostitute. She wanted us to drag us down, but he was humble like Vishnu or Ambarish. But also a different case where even though Prahlad wanted to maintain his relationship with Hiranyakashipu didn't want to maintain his relationship with Prahlad. So my question is that how important is it for everyone, it doesn't matter what relationship you are, marriage, friendship, this, be content with your relationship with the Lord, because that's the reality. People won't want to maintain your relationship, even if you try your hardest to maintain. That's why people get divorced, that's why relationships break up. So how important is it for us, or what can we do to be more concerned about maintaining our relationship with Krishna? So
how can we be concerned,
yeah,
more
without
concerned
seeming like impersonal with other people also. But there's nothing you could do if people want to break out the relationship with you. There's nothing you could do. And a lot of times world come crashing down when people want to, instead of looking at Krishna, people looking at other people for happiness. So how important is it for us to be Atmaram, self-satisfied just with our relationship with Krishna?
Yeah, one immediate thing that comes to my mind of what you said is that if we see Krishna separate from his devotee, or we see his devotee or anyone separate from Krishna, then, you know, we're not going to get it right. You know, everybody is part and parcel of Krishna, so you can see, if you want to see right, then you see everybody in relationship with Krishna. And if you try to see Krishna separate from his devotees, then Krishna tells us, you know, you got it wrong, you know, it's not going to work. You know, you want me, you have to get me through my devotees. You know, Krishna tells us that in many, many ways, directly. So we have to through knowledge, and we have to be able to relate both to Krishna and to Krishna's devotees, and as a matter of fact, with all living entities in that way, seeing the connection. And not only with all living entities, with everything. That's that Ishavasya principle. With everything. Everything is connected with Krishna. So we try to see like that. If we're able to see like that, then we're Krishna conscious. If there's a very good symptom that we're doing something wrong, is if we find ourselves in some conflict. So if there's conflict, means that, oh, I'm doing something that is not fully Krishna consciousness. That is more like, you know, material false ego thing, a false ego stuff. If there is conflict. So if there is conflict, then you know, okay. If things are very nice, then, you know, you're doing something right. So you have to keep going like that. Yes, back to Marcel Prabhu.
Just hearing that point, I've been reading the Mahabharata lately, and I'm curious because it's kind of contradicting in my head. The Pandavas, they definitely, everything wasn't going all right when they were exiled to the forest, but they definitely were Krishna conscious. So I'm just wondering in relation to that, like still doing what you need to do, even though the world may be falling apart around you.
Yeah, I was listening to this amazing lecture. I think, you know, I recommend everyone to listen to this lecture by His Holiness Ramapat Swami that he gave in Vrindavan about reversals. What do you do when you face reversals in your path in Krishna consciousness? And one of the examples that he brings is the Pandavas. Actually, he quoted Bhishmadev, expressing to the Pandavas his appreciation of how strong was their relationship with Krishna, that even though going through so many reversals, they remain, equipoised and fully connected with Krishna. They always remain doing the right thing. So, in a nutshell, when someone is situated in Krishna consciousness, then reversal or positive situations, or everything perfect or everything right, both things is seen as a mercy of the Lord, and one eagerly receive any of these situations as Krishna helping us, coming closer to Him. So, in the position of Krishna consciousness, you remain unaffected. Your consciousness remains unaffected. Your faith remains unaffected. Even if some reversal comes, And it's a very important principle to actually cultivate. Because in the path of devotional service, in the process of purification, we're going to be confronted at every step with some reversal, something that is going to be an obstacle, that is going to cause, some uncomfortable situation for us. Sometimes, that causes pain. Sometimes that causes, anxiety. Sometimes that, all these things are there in the path of devotional service. So, His Holiness Ramapa Swami explains that how we can see that, when we understand that when you become a devotee, when you accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and I'm His devotee, then Krishna sees that, and He says, okay, He wants you to be in that position, so He reciprocates with that. So He accepts us. And then, different than what happens to non-devotees, to those who doesn't accept Krishna, doesn't accept God, and themselves as devotees of God. So then they have to deal with the karmic reactions. For the devotee, is something else. For the devotee, is preordained by Krishna. Whatever circumstance you have to face, either it could be health, it could be something, it could be whatever circumstance that appears to be a reversal, that appears to be a situation that is, difficult, an obstacle in your path of devotional service. That is placed there by Krishna Himself. The devotee understands that, and understands that, let me pay attention to this. What is Krishna trying to teach me? What is that Krishna is trying to bring my attention to be able to overcome whatever is there that He's trying to make me see, to overcome, that will allow me to have a much more natural flow towards His lotus feet. So that's the position of the devotees. I mean, the very advanced devotees, they're associate of Krishna. So Krishna is through them is showing us the path, this path of purification, of elevation in Krishna consciousness. How to always act in Krishna consciousness in whatever circumstances there. He gave the example of Lord Brahma, that after making the huge mistake of disrupting Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Imagine, that you sort of like, how you say when you crash a party? Let's say you crash a party. Suppose you crash the party of your boss that he has with his most loving, intimate setup. with, their immediate family, children, wife, mother, parents, they having this very intimate, happy moment, gathering, and you crash it, and you start to disrupt the whole thing, just like that. I mean, what is coming to you is pretty heavy. I mean, so that's what Lord Brahma did. He crashed Krishna's pastime in Vrindavan with his cowherd boys and his cows, and he disrupted the whole thing. So he understood he was going to get a big reaction because of that. But what was Lord Brahma's? Is a pure devotee, and he's, showing Krishna through his pure devotee is showing us what was his position. He took shelter of pure devotional service, and he told Krishna, whatever comes to me, I will gratefully accept it. That famous verse, I can remember, Guru Maharaj. Yes. So the famous verse that whatever comes to me as a reaction, I will take gracefully. And let it come. Let it come. So that's the position of the devotee. The position of the devotee is that is Krishna's mercy, and is for me to learn something that will help me overcome, an obstacle that is in the path of Krishna's, taking shelter of his lotus feet. Okay, I stop here. Unless there's 5 more minutes. Any last question? All right. Thank you, Prabhu. Karantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Change the battery.